All right, chat. We're gonna watch Guzu's opinions on hardcore rules. I only saw the thumbnail, so I have no idea what he's talking about other than like I guess his opinions. And we watched a video on Stay Safe a week or two ago about what he would like to see as far as hardcore rule changes go. There were several of Stay Safe's rules that I agreed with, and there was a few that I highly disagreed with. So we'll see if Guzu's a smart dude, though. I think he and I are gonna have a, but he's also too nice sometimes. Maybe. I think there'll probably be more of the same, where I agree with quite a bit of what he says, and then disagree with a lot else. But we'll see what he says. It looks like, hold on, he's got a spreadsheet and everything going. It looks like he's really put some work into this. All right, let's see what he says.
We're gonna be getting a PTR of some sorts within a few weeks, and probably this summer is, I believe, what he said. We're gonna be getting an actual hardcore server, which will be very interesting, guys. Oh my gosh, I looked over the actual announcement and like I thought a little bit with it through. I really doubt we're actually gonna get any like specialized rules, because from what he said yesterday,
I don't think you're gonna get any specialized rule. We talked about this earlier. For those of you that are interested in the hardcore servers, they're basically, it's just a fresh server with one life. Like if you die, your character is just a ghost and it can never res. So I don't see like there's gonna be no special rules. The only thing they're adding is the duel to the death feature, which is, I think, is kind of neat. I think it will give the opportunity to have some really fantastic tournaments and stuff like that. But we'll see. But there's not going to be any special rules. Like, they made that very clear. They want this to be community driven. I do hope that the community enforces, like, that you need, in order to participate in raiding or whatever, you would have to play with the hardcore add-on to make sure that you are actually playing with hardcore rule set and not doing things like trading or using the auction house. I know that Stay Safe was a proponent of being able to trade with people and use the auction house. That just makes the game way too easy to level up. It's not hardcore anymore. It's more like softcore. And as I've said many times on stream, nobody likes softcore anything. So I think they've got to keep it hardcore and make it so that it's challenging to level. If you have people that are just kind of trading with you and feeding you good gear and stuff like that, it makes it too easy to actually get to 70. So that's my opinion.
And how he like mentioned it is like, I don't think they're gonna be doing any like specialized rules. I feel like the idea that they want to do with it is they want the player to make the decisions in the game themselves. So if you want to play a certain way, you're gonna be doing that. I don't think Blizzard will go in and say, okay, you can't trade with people, you can't do other certain things as well.
I don't think Blizzard will do it. I think that the community needs to do it. So I think people can level up on the server however they want. Like, they get to level 60 is the one, that's fine. But I personally prefer that if you get to, in order to get into the raids, you need to follow the actual hardcore rules of not trading and that sort of stuff.
Well, like only allowed to do a few dungeons here and there. They probably want people to play however they want to play. So I don't think a specific rule set, as we're used to right now, will be in effect. I think the Makara thing is amazing. Honestly, I think that's absolutely badass.
The Makara thing
Having
is
like
actually really
some
cool.
Sort of like a dueling thing, where like if you die in the duel, you actually die. I think that's pretty sick. Even if people don't use it, and it's gonna be so rare you see anyone doing like a Makara, the fact that it's there is really cool. I like that a lot, actually. I think that's badass.
You know what I think is gonna be funny? I think you will probably actually have people that are trash talking each other, and somebody will be like, all right, fine, let's Makara and deal with this. Let's step outside and have a fight to the death. I think it opens up a really unique and fun opportunity.
The whole okay, I have like a paint, okay, we got the paint, guys, okay. I mean, so the whole trading thing, right? Trading versus, does it make it no trading? So for the hardcore thing, right, there's obviously gonna be like a big difference in these two things. The current one we have is the no trading thing, right? We do not have trading. This is like more like what is it called, solo self-found, I guess you could say, right? SSF, right?
Again, I said that we should not have
like,
trading.
you can just trade with everybody. there's good and there's bad things about both. I think the current iteration we have is this.
Allowing trading just makes it way too easy. Like, plain and simply, it just makes it way too easy. You can still interact with people in the game without trading with them. You can still talk to them. You can still do dungeons and stuff like that with people. But trading and allowing people to trade like gear to help people get through levels just makes it way too easy. So I don't like the idea of it.
This is the current one, right? And this is like gonna be official probably. Probably, right? The good outweighs the bad. If you're stuck and of course from after you die, then who...
See, and again, Guzu is listing what is going to be available on the server. There will be trading allowed on the server, from what I understand. I think the hardcore community needs to enforce that, you know, if you want to participate in level 60 content and rating and stuff like that with the hardcore like group, to say that you actually completed everything, you know, getting to 60 and all that sort of stuff. I think they need to enforce that you need to use the add-on and not be doing a lot of this stuff that just makes it too easy to level. Alodar, I trust you to design official hardcore. You understand it, but are not too attached to it. I mean, I'm pretty attached to it, but I think Blizzard should hire me to help design a lot of their stuff. Season of Mastery 2, Classic Fresh, like, I think I would do a tremendous job, actually. And I would probably, you know, Blizzard, if you're watching out there, I'd only command 6 figures. So, you know, just reach out if you want. My links and all my information is, all my information is the links in the links down below.
Who cares if you can trade? Well, there is a few...
See you later, Atalo. Thanks again,
good
man.
Good and bad things about this, right? I guess it being SSF is a good and a bad thing in of itself, right? Good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, first things first, right? There is a very, very obvious bad thing about having trading in like official hardcore,
Bots.
right?
Gold farming.
And the main thing is gold selling. RMT, right? That is the main problem with that, right? Because there will, if there is an economy, if there's something like that, there will be like gold selling and stuff like that, right? Like, obviously. There's also like another thing, which is bots, right? I mean, hardcore bots. I mean, as long as they kill like low-level mobs, there are like no issues whatsoever, then that's definitely going to be something that's going to be really, really, really bad, right? Because bots will be more rampant with it, and there's going to be gold selling for sure, right? It basically becomes the pay to win if there is trading. Well, to a certain degree, right? Bots will be #1 target for griefs in a good way. Well, there's also a good thing about the whole trading thing, right? And a good thing is that like it's sort of like it's the MMO feel, right? There's a very, very strong feeling in MMO of being able to trade with people and like having your resources be valuable and like sort of just trading with people, because let's be honest, a massively multiplayer online game, I mean, it's in the name of it, right? It's trading with people, interacting, and like actually having those like, you know, interactions with people. But do you want that feeling in a hardcore? For the time being, how we've had hardcore has been what is it called? It's been like a solo self-found, right? That's how we've been playing, right? MMO feel when other people buying gold, well, that's where the bad thing comes in, right? It's a good thing that we get the MMO feel, but that thing could be negated by having the gold selling RMT and bots, right?
Again, this isn't just an MMO, it's a hardcore version of the MMO. So, I mean, you're going to have to remove some of the hardcoreness or some of the MMO feel a little bit to make it feel a little bit more hardcore.
So these two things sort of negate each other in a way, right? Because will the market be completely crap and it be horrible? No trading and no auction house will be the lame as hell in the long run. It's a strange thing to really get right, and I think no matter what we do, there will definitely be people not happy with it, right? I think the trading route will probably be the one.
Here's an interesting thing. He talks about bots and stuff like that. How do you think the level 60 characters are going to treat bots? And in particular, let's bring griefing into the discussion. It looks like Blizzard is coming down hard on griefers, and again, I've said in the past that I don't really have that much of a problem with griefers being on One Life servers because they run the risk of dying themselves. But if you find bots, do you not think that a lot of level 60 characters are going to come together and say, hey, there's a bot in Highlands trying to level. Let's go kill it or something like that. Like, at what point are bots or you know, these companies that are running bots, how hard is it going to be for them to get to level 60? You can still kill bots too, dads. I've killed thousands of bots. Like, they're bots that are running around. What do you mean how? I've done it like numerous, but you can grief them the same way griefers are griefing you. Like, you can do the exact same thing with a hunter to them that these griefers are doing to everyone else. Like, it's not hard. It's a computer program that is just sitting there running from mob to mob to mob. All you have to do is grab a mob and a bunch of mobs and drop it on top of them, and it dies. Like, I think you would honestly have a bunch of people that would find out about where bots are, and they would probably actually go out and do something. How do you think people on PvP servers would react if they knew that they could find bots and kill them, and the bot would actually be deleted? Like, I think that's actually what you would see on these One Life servers, is people would see bots and they'd be like, you know what? I'm going to go there with my level 60 hunter and I'm going to drop 10 mobs on top of it. The player basically bot, because we know Blizzard's not going to do it, Roman. Why are you even asking the question? You know why. We know it's not our responsibility, but we also know Blizzard's not going to do anything about it.
The route they're gonna go down, I really think it will be. If there's trading and there's bots and I ain't playing,
Blizzard will put in grief protection that inadvertently results in botting becoming easier. You know, I've come up with this like conspiracy theory, and it's me joking for the most part, that Blizzard always seems to take the path that makes it easier for bots to operate. Think about all the things that Blizzard has done in the past that just make it easier for bots to operate and make gold and stuff like that. And they don't actually seem to do anything that seems really like that makes it much more like makes it more difficult for bots to operate, save for what they did in Season of Mastery, where they basically eliminated boosting from bots. That's like the only thing that I can think of, but virtually everything else that they've done seems to almost make it easier for bots to operate, as though Blizzard's in cahoots with these bots companies, or Blizzard's, you know, they're selling gold on G2G. Don't even get me started on that, because you can imagine how easy it would be for Blizzard to do that. But I'm not saying that they are. Talking that Blizzard going to release official hardcore. Yes, they are. They've announced it a couple of days ago. So I know it is a rhetorical question, but I'm just saying, like, we know why. But you will have these parties running around, like, hunting down these bots. I fully expect that's going to be something that will occur. And for that reason alone, like, I'm hoping that Blizzard doesn't pull some anti-griefing thing, because it will, if they put in some anti-griefing thing where griefers aren't able to kill people anymore, that also means that players aren't going to be able to kill bots that you know are going to exist, and Blizzard will do nothing about them. So you almost expect, based on the BS conspiracy theory, that Blizzard will do whatever they can to help bots, that they will probably put something in the game that doesn't allow players to be killed by other players by any means. So thus it would help bots. You can probably expect that it'll be put in the game now.
That shit.
Whoa!
I think there's really good and bad things about both, right? The good thing about the no trading thing is, like, less bots. Like, a lot less, right? Like, because there's not going to be really an incentive to really have bots whatsoever. I mean, the only incentive to have a bot would be to, like, level up.
Now, does it mean no trading is in, like, no sending, like, gold through the mail, no auction house? Because there's plenty of ways, so I'm told, that you can get gold from bots. You don't have to just trade.
Hardcore characters then you can play on. There would be no gold selling. There would be no gold selling at all, and the bots wouldn't be running rampant in the same way. We don't know to which degree.
Considering how much investigative damage Blizzard can do if they spend $1,000 over the course of... I mean, come on. Blizzard could just open up accounts on G2G, sell gold through those accounts, make money by selling those gold through their accounts, and then also have a list of names of players that are buying gold and then ban them later. That sounds actually ridiculously easy. Also, no persistent account progress is a plus. If trading is allowed, I can have a level 1 bank halt. I never risk my gold or items. It literally breaks the game mode. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Trading is really bad for the game. Then you can have bank halts and all this other stuff. It just makes things really easy. And I mean, think of it as more of a challenge for you to be able to actually get there to level 60. But remember the Josh Strife Hayes video that we watched the other day, where he talked about why older MMOs feel better. Like, you get a much higher sense of satisfaction when you actually complete a task because it's harder. But players will generally move towards games that have easier tasks for that immediate satisfaction, but don't enjoy the game as much in the long run because they didn't have that high sense of satisfaction for completing something that was actually different. Or difficult, sorry. So it's kind of the same situation here, right? Like,
agreed the bots would be there.
What if gold was used only for training? Trading between players or strictly only for goods only? Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe then you can buy the items off of bot sites and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you know, if you allow them to make like real life money, like by trading in-game items, they will do that. I haven't played around the lynching. How's bot gonna work? I have no idea, actually. I don't know.
If even they would, right? So yeah, they said that the safest route is for bots. They won't easily die. There will be a way definitely to like make bots be very, very good. Oh, bad? Did I say no gold selling? So that's gonna be like a good thing, obviously, right? Less bots, no gold selling. That's the main two things about that. Yeah. So with the no trading thing, there will be different things as well, right? Like, should trading then be allowed at max level? Restrict auction house and trading at level 60. Disable mailboxes. I think that would be a nice solution. Restrict auction house and trading to level 60. That could be a really good Guzu game. Should we make a whole different thing? Possible way of trading in hardcore. So there's one thing, the one way I really, really liked it is that
I don't know that I mind the idea of being able to trade in once you hit level 60. I wouldn't have a problem if they said no trading at all. But I don't have a problem with them maybe trading at level 60, but then it opens up the idea that people could trade with bots. However, having said that, any bots that are like level 60, it would be easy for these other level 60 players to find out that they're bots and then actually go on these hunting parties to kill them. So that would also mean that any items that were in the bot's bank or anything like that, they'd be wiped out as well.
No auction house at all. So auction house would not be there at all. You trade items for other items. So let's say it's called bartering, right? It's like some bartering, right? So if somebody wants to, like, you know, trade something, you have to talk to them and be like, okay, I see you have like a searing blade or whatever. I'm gonna give you some copper ore and whatever for that, and then we can trade like so. So somewhat a PoE style, right? Like a PoE style. Instead of it being like a...
Again, you can still have bots and bot companies make money off of this. Let's be clear, like, as soon as you open up trading, you are opening up the chance that bot sites are going to be able to sell items for real life money, because they can just trade you like a purple item for an apple or something like that, right? And meanwhile, you've paid $20 for it on a website.
Currency with gold would be used to like repair and do other things, but there would be no auction house and you trade for items. It's actually...
You think the bots will leave capital cities? I'm not sure those parties are that prevalent. It's literally a full-time job. Well, I mean, the bots would generally need to go farm somewhere, right? So, yeah, I think you would still see bots out in the world. Like, they're gonna have to try and level up and stuff like that. And it's fairly easy to spot a bot.
Quite an interesting take on it, right? I mean, it's a possible way of doing that.
It's not even a chance. It's a guaranteed. G2G doesn't only sell gold, it also sells items. I know people who bought Lionheart helms through it. Who would that be, Max? Yeah, for sure. Like I've seen items for sale in other games and stuff like that, but I don't really go on G2G. And when I have, I mean, I'm not looking to buy items and stuff like that. But obviously, like I don't have any hesitation in believing that they would immediately turn to. If there's a way for them to make real life money for in-game items, they're going to do it. So as soon as you open up trading between players, regardless of whether they have to wait till level 60, I think making them wait till level 60 is a big deal because at least you force the bots to try and level up. And I know there are ways for bots to like level up and stuff like that, but it is very easy to catch them in the open world. And hopefully there would be people that would be like, hey, we found a bot, let's go kill it by, through griefing means. But we talked earlier about how Blizzard seems to put in all of these systems in the game that actually make it easy for bots to make money. And by getting rid of griefing in the game, it opens up the ability for bots to level much easier. So if they somehow come up with a way for it to be basically impossible for griefers to kill other players by whatever, feigning death near players or that sort of thing, it will make it virtually impossible to kill these bots as well. So that is one reason why I don't want them to actually get rid of like griefing or the ability for players to actually do that sort of thing, because griefers are going to have to level up as well. And as soon as people find out that there's somebody trying to grief in an area, they could probably just call out in world chat or whatever and have 5 people come by and do the same thing to him. Or if you find out there's a griefer in a certain area, there's probably going to be a bunch of level 60s that are like, hey, you know what? Let's go grief him, grief the griefer. But it also takes away the ability for us to police bots and kill bots and get rid of them if they're trying to level up. So, but having said that now, I fully expect Blizzard's probably going to do something to allow bots to thrive.
Would it work? I'm not sure, right? That would definitely be quite interesting. There's also the other thing that somebody suggested here as well, which was restricting trading to levels. Right? So you would do it like so. Can only trade people within 5 levels. Plus minus 5 levels. Right? So you could, like a person that's like level 44 could trade a person that's between, like 45 could trade a person between 40 and 50, right? The trade...
I mean, then you just have items traded down. You're going to have like a level 50 player trading down to a level 45 player who trades down to a level 40 player who trades down to a level 35 player. I don't know that that's going to work. You're going to find ways to get around it. And bots are going to have this automated. So if you want like a level 20 item on whatever your character, you're going to have bots that have it at like level 60, and they're going to have it like all automated. And you're probably going to see bots lined up in town, just like they're going to be in a line, just trading items down from one another in order to sell it to someone or sell it on the website.
Trade within 5 levels is pointless. At level 50 would simply trade at 45, who would trade down to 40 and would trade it to a 35 and trade to a 30. That is true. Yeah, you can abuse that. And the thing we know about it is, guys, is that there would be a way, like you can abuse, if there's something that you can abuse, people will abuse it. You can never stop all abuse. That is true. But you could limit it in the beginning of making it so that
you can completely eliminate it by not allowing trading. Like, let's be honest. I've heard some people even suggest things like you can trade within your own guild, but then people are just going to be inviting these bots into the guild so that you can trade with them, and then they'd be leaving the guild. Like, that's why I'm kind of at, like, the more I think about it, the more I'm either we just allow trading, because as soon as you allow any type of trading, the bots are just gonna the bots and the companies are just gonna abuse it like crazy. So once you allow one system, you may as well just allow them all, or you just don't allow any trading at all, which I personally would be fine with. Trade winners with captchas, is that with the pictures and stuff like that? You got to move things around to You know, how many pictures in these 9 windows have buses in them?
The way you implement it couldn't abuse, right? How would the border thing affect tunes level 60 though, where the trade restriction would be lifted? Kind of like it would make things infinitely harder when it's supposed to get easier. It's a hard thing to really make work in a way, because like you could also say, okay, like all trading is allowed, but then, you know, bots and other stuff as well. What about mailboxes? Then you would have to limit mailboxes as well, right? Self-found account.
Like I said, as soon as you allow any type of trading, you basically may as well just allow it all, because if your worry is bots, they're going to abuse the hell out of it and be able to use it. So allowing mailboxes, or just trading, or just auction house, like as soon as you allow any of that, the bots are going to thrive. Like they're going to absolutely take advantage of that. They'll trade gold through the auction house. They'll trade gold through the mailbox, whatever. So it's either, in my opinion, on a hardcore server, specifically, it's either all or nothing. And personally, the more we're talking about it, I'm leaning more towards nothing. Like, if you want to get to level 60, you can't trade with anyone. That proves that you're not actually using any bots as well, because you know you're going to have some people that are going to get to level 60 by using bots, by buying gear, by buying gold, or what have you. Like, that's why, like, I think that you need to actually make it so that in order to be considered a hardcore character, you have to get to 60 without trading at all. And then even raiding at at level 60, you might even want to make it so that you can't trade then. Like, think about that. Like, you get to like level 60 and suddenly you can't trade within your own guild, because as soon as you're opening up the ability to trade, suddenly bots are thriving again.
Mail only to yourself and are all items bound instead of...
I know, having said that, there's going to be a lot of people that are out there that are like, no, that's going a little too far, and I understand that. I don't have a problem with you being able to trade at level 60 as long as we can go out and kill bots. I think hardcore servers with extra professions would be really cool. No auction house, trade, mailbox, of course. That is one way that you could solve it. Like, you could have, like, you could have 4 professions. So you could have, like, you could have alchemy, herbalism, alchemy, and you could also have mining and engineering. Right? Like, you could have that, and then that way you can have all the potions and flasks and stuff like that. Maybe that would be a way to do it.
Of soul bounding, so you can level multiple characters' professions to help each other, but no trading with other people. Also, you mean you can, so like mailbox is like a account bound, or what? Is that what you're suggesting, or what? Solo self-found will probably just be like a community thing. Guilds will use add-on and be specifically community within the server. If we are gonna get trading, SSF will definitely be a thing within like the server. It's not gonna be like an official thing. It's something that people will do within their retrospective, like, you know, communities and stuff like that. Because I highly doubt it will be SSF, guys. Solo self-found. I really don't think so, right? It should be SSF. That's part of hardcore. Not necessarily. That's part of the hardcore experience that we've had so far. And the reality of it is that it's not going to be SSF. I really doubt it, right? I really, really doubt it.
The servers won't be SSF. That's single self-funded, I believe is what SSF stands for. The servers themselves won't be SSF, but I honestly believe that in order to be considered like a hardcore character, it should be SSF. Even like dual leveling or leveling in threes or whatever. Like, I don't think that's hardcore. Like, don't be ridiculous and tell me that dual leveling is harder or is hard or something like that. It's solo self-found. Okay, sorry. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be allowed to raid if you're get to level 60 as a trio. But there maybe should be like some sort of an achievement or something like that. Like, you get to level 60 solo, you've got like an achievement, like a title or something like that. That might be kind of neat to have, as opposed to, you know, like being level 60 as a trio. Like, you get a different achievement for that.
one no wrestling community can manage the rest. I really think, Lyrian, what you're saying is how it's gonna happen. I really think that's how it's gonna be. We're just talking like potential thingamajigs, really, because I think the discussion is quite interesting. If anything, I agree. The discussion definitely proves that there's gonna be so many polarizing opinions about this. So if Blizzard does end up actually changing something, it's gonna be very difficult to please everybody, right? All right, so this is the video with the announcement and stuff like that, myself reacting, right? Unironically, the announcement of official Mark Gora is the first time in decades I've been pleased with something Blizzard come up with on their own. I actually really agree with this. I think the Mark Gora is sick. I would like to have something with a ghost version of you staying where you died in the world and giving shamans a spell that can see into the spirit world around them and see the ghosts.
How did I not realize that we're not watching this in high
Maybe
def?
the last words they said, like the add-on does if you talk to the ghost. Just a fun thing, and I know it's impractical. I'm excited to see where hardcore goes. Cool idea. I mean, actually kind of cool idea.
Hold on, I would love... I've got to reread this because I was busy fiddling with the high def stuff. I would love to have something like a ghost version of you staying where you died in the world and give shamans a spell. Oh, I read this because I read this comment actually. I've died. Maybe see the. I don't know how that would affect as far as like the servers lag and stuff like that. I don't know if that would have an effect on that. But I mean, eventually, like there would be like dead people everywhere, right? Like the server would be full. I think it is kind of neat that they allow you to stay as a ghost and like travel around and stuff like that. Like maybe you can go have like a meeting, you know, in the tavern or something like that. A bunch of ghosts having a drink. Hardcore servers absolutely need his quest log cap to be raised as well. I mean, I'm leveling on the classic era server, and I mean, if you follow the rested XP guide, you don't need to have the quest log increase because it takes that into account. And the world's fastest leveling guide, which you can get by going to, restedxp.com and using the code Alodar, of course, for 5% off. But the like I don't really have much of a problem. Like I'll get to 20 quests or whatever, but the guide itself does a really good job of making sure that you don't go over. Sellout, I mean, it is what it is. You know, you have to in this day and age, man.
I will
you gotta have a side hustle.
The whole spirit thing where people like get left in a spirit and stuff like that, I actually think that's quite cool. Just
it is kind of cool.
Like, you could be running around and there could like be people like running around with their ghosts and stuff like that, and like you wouldn't know, right? Huge props to Kargos and the early OG. Kargos is definitely one of the boys, man. I'd really love them to add official achievements like the ones in the add-on, but with added titles and such, like for completing all dungeons whilst leveling. I agree. I think some actual achievements could be quite sick. So there's a bunch of different achievements you can choose, right? Like static.
I'm not an achievements guy. Like I mean, we do raiding and stuff like that. We're doing the achievements for raiding because there's people in our guild that actually like to have the achievements. But I think for hardcore, the achievements thing is absolutely a must, actually. To be able to show off all these things that you're able to do during hardcore, like. I would probably actually go out and do the dungeons and stuff like that if I was, if they had all these achievements. Like, you finish Wailing Caverns, you finished, this dungeon, you get a different achievement for each dungeon, and if you complete them all the way up to 60, you get like, I don't know, dungeon master or something like that. I don't know.
Challenge, or Insane in the Membrane, Tunnel Vision, Solitary Struggle, like.
It'd be cool if you could loot the corpses of other players that have died. Dude, there's many games in the past that have had that. And there were very fun PvP games, but a lot of people didn't like it. But I get what you mean for like PvE. Maybe only make it possible when characters level 120 plus. It would be cool if you could loot the corpses of other players that died, like treasure chests for... So how about this, Metix? Let me throw this curveball at you. If bots wanted to sell items and they couldn't trade it regularly, what would stop them from loading the items that they wanted to sell to you, have you go meet them outside of town, get killed by a mob, and then you just loot their corpse for the item? Like, I know that's a little bit of effort, but I feel like you would actually see stuff like that.
like different sort of ways
me.
of playing the game that makes it harder on yourself, but you
I
get
like
an
the
achievement
achievements
point
idea,
for doing
though.
it, right? So you're not allowed to use health potions, or you can't use your. You can only stay in Kalimdor. There is there's no mounts, flight paths, or portals. There is no talents allowed, and there's also questing achievements, right?
it's all
doing certain
randomized now.
bosses before a certain level, and
I mean, I like the idea of being able that when you kill someone, you get an item off of their corpse. Like other games have had that in the past, but it encourages more PvP, which from my point of view is amazing. But for other people who don't like just getting randomly attacked, who should be on a PvE server, they don't like that at all. And unfortunately, those people outnumber us. And it's very clear that they outnumber us because they're also the people that complain about things like, getting debuffs purged and all this other sort of stuff. They're on PvP servers, but they don't like PvP mechanics being used against them all the time. So, I mean, you can even see it today.
then you get an achievement. I think something like this could be really cool. I actually think that's an interesting idea and something that would make the personal challenges quite fun, right? Like you could impose a challenge on yourself. Let's say if trading is allowed, there could be like an achievement with no trading. So like you aren't allowed to trade people at all before 60. You will get an achievement for it, right? That could be kind of cool. I would love to see that stuff. Titles, like imagine you do a
with your achievements.
Let's say like a random thing. Imagine if you do there's an achievement for solo self-found. So like you are a player and you're doing an achievement where you aren't allowed to trade anyone. When you get level 60, you get an achievement called the Lone Survivor or something like that, right? And you get a title. So like you would be the Lone Survivor Guzu, right? That could be kind of cool. Like something like that and whatever. Like Lone Wolf. Yeah, Lone Wolf Guzu or Lone Wolf Quiplix, right? And then people could see that you.
I like that, and then like even if you like didn't group with people, like you would require you to not even group for instances and stuff like that as well. But then you could not get like the instance titles, and I actually like the idea of getting an instance title like Dungeon Master or something like that if you complete all the instances as you level up to 60.
You didn't trade people along the way. You were solo, right? That could be 6. Or like if you win 100 Makgoraz, the undefeated, or like the champion. I hope Blizzard listens and does something about all the griefing going on. I know everybody's gonna start at level 1 for a while, and there won't be any still. Definitely, everybody being one life will make griefing a little bit less attractive in a way, but people will still do it, right?
It's gonna make it a lot less attractive because griefers are gonna have to level to 60, and they're probably going to die a ton as well. And if you've watched the videos on the guys that are doing the griefing, they're literally the worst players in the world. Like they are clickers. You watch them when they PvP against Savix and stuff like that, and Savix just absolutely destroys them off stream or whatever. But they generally are not very good players. So for them to get to 60 would be a challenge in itself. And then on top of that, the few of them that do actually get to 60, as soon as they start griefing, the word's going to go out that so-and-so is griefing, and you're probably going to have, a bounty on their heads and 20 people going after them and, trying to kill them in various ways through griefing mechanics, right? So,
right. Is there going to be some sort of like an anti-griefing thing with like GMs? Are we going to... a big thing you could do to prevent a lot of griefing is maybe look at the scatter shot thing with being able to kite like a mob over to people and then scatter shot, feign death, and then the mob accrues to another player regardless of how far away you are. That's the main way that people grief, right? They bring a mob over.
It is the main way that people grief, but people will find other ways to grief. Another thing that they need to do is make it so that if you are clicking on an NPC and there's like somebody is like they're just standing there with a character of the other faction, you accidentally flag yourself for PvP. They need to make it so that a warning comes up like, you're about to flag yourself for PvP, do you want to do this? And you actually have to physically click to accept that, rather than just being able to randomly click on something here and finding out there was somebody's stealth, or inside the body or whatever, and you flagged yourself for PvP unknowingly. I think that needs to absolutely be added to the game.
The scatter shot, and then they feign death, and then the mob goes on you, right? And then there's another thing that maybe, I don't know if they're even gonna do this. I don't know if they'll do that. That's a terrible idea. You mean changing that at all? I think that they did with.
See, here's the problem. If you get rid of stuff like that, you're also getting rid of the player's abilities to police those griefers through the same means, right? So.
With Kazakh, is that they made Kazakh only able to run around in blasted lands. So like Kazakh is then bound to blasted lands. They could do it the same way with other mobs as well, if they want to like actually, you know, change something in regards to griefing. I'm not saying remove certain abilities from.
How about you just make it so that the leash on those mobs only lasts for a certain period of time? So, or same thing that Guzu is suggesting, where you're restricting certain mobs to certain zones. So you're not having people grab mobs out of Ungirl Crater or whatever and dragging them all the way up to wherever, Orgrimmar or something. You know, like it doesn't make sense. Like after a certain period of time or distance, they unleash and immediately like evade and run back to their area.
Classes and like change the fundamentals of the classes. That's really silly.
And you know what? In fact, that might just be the simplest way to do it. Like one of the easier ways to do it anyways. Like you're still going to obviously have some griefing, but these ridiculous situations where people are dragging mobs from, you know, insert zone here, like a you know, like one of the mobs from Ungirl Crater, and just dragging it somewhere like zones and zones away to attack people. Like just having it leash after whatever a few hundred yards is probably a really good way to get around or get around it.
Don't remove anything like that, but maybe change the way that leashing works on longer distances. So you can't drag a Devil Sword from Yunguru Crater to Shimmering Flats to kill Soryu, right? Having a variable rule set is going to be super weird. If everyone is playing a different set, then it's going to reduce the meaningfulness of someone actually beating it. Imagine forming a group with a dungeon, and there's people who are allowed to do more than one instance and much better gear than the base. They won't ever want to risk something with a group who's locked into one thing and their character's at stake. You won't be able to find a group for anything if you're sticking to an add-on style. I think a lot of these things that people are talking about, in general, I would say don't change a lot of stuff. But what I really think could be cool is the achievement thing. Like having some achievements that you would attain by playing the game in a certain way, or like limiting your character in a way, would be really cool, right? Players don't know what's best for them, neither do Blizzard, equals problem for gaming. Yeah, a lot of the times people don't know what they want. And that's why I think it's a very dangerous route going down, changing a whole lot of things, right? Because maybe Billy wants one thing to be changed. Let's say Billy hates.
If you ask 100 people how they would like hardcore to be, you're probably gonna get 95 different answers. Like in all honesty, you're not gonna make everyone happy. I think there's got to be some very baseline requirements for what hardcore actually is. Like it actually has to be hard. So it can't be just, you know, really super easy by allowing trading, by allowing people to get magic gear really easy. People are talking about how, oh, well, I want to be able to run dungeons over and over and over again. I mean, I could maybe be okay with that as long as they're not getting XP from the mobs over and over again, because otherwise you just have dungeon grinding groups, right? So I think they've got to have a baseline for what hardcore actually is, and then if people want to have extra achievements on top of that, then that's fine. But they've got to have a baseline of this is what hardcore is, and it is required to be for these baseline rules to be as a base guideline for what you need to do in order to accomplish the feat.
auction houses, and he is advocating so hard for removing auction houses because it ruins the integrity of hardcore, and it is a plague, right? And then Billy ends up getting auction house removed because he pushed for it so hard. Then Kevin comes, and then Kevin loves trading, and then Kevin makes a Reddit thread, and it gets a lot of traction, and then suddenly everybody hates Blizzard because Billy made Blizzard remove auction houses. You're gonna have so many polarizing, like, different opinions about it, and it's never gonna make everybody happy. Mostly baseline game would probably be the best way to go about it, I think, if it's an official thing. And then people can play whatever they want in a way where they could be incentivized by achievements. I really think this achievement thing is a cool thing. If you can do 5-level range, just make items soulbound after trading once so you can abuse it. Okay, so you're talking about, like, you can trade items once. So if you get an item, you can trade it to one person. Actually, so items would be tradable within 5 levels, like 5 levels below, 5 levels above. Once that one item is traded, it's soulbound. That's actually quite a cool idea.
Yeah,
that would mean you could trade with other people.
And it's art.
Wait, actually, that's actually a really cool idea.
How you doing?
Trading within 5 levels of what you are. Once item is traded,
it's soulbound.
It becomes soulbound. This is actually quite a cool idea. What about gold? Yeah, see, that's where we're into an issue, right? Just make it so that level 60 is their own bracket. So then you would make level 60 can only trade to 60. So that it, like, you can't, like, have a level 60 that's, like, you know, trading stuff down and everything like that. People are worried about boosting and gold selling. Does anyone really think about a single bot could get to 60 without dying? I don't think it would be very difficult for a bot to get to 60 without dying. Make a character, farm green mobs, that's it. Like, getting to 60 on hardcore, guys.
It would be easy for them to get to 60 as a hardcore character, but it would be easy for them to get to 60, but it would be a lot harder if players were able to greet them and kill them.
It's not difficult if you're just doing it the easy way. If they limit trade in any way, it would ruin the fun for me. It's a big issue, man. I don't know. It's a big issue because a lot of people like the whole trading thing, right, and everything like that.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, Roman. Somebody had suggested that you could trade items or you could loot items off of people's corpses, and I said, well, then bots would just load up a level 1, go outside of a town, get killed by a mob, and let you loot its corpse that you bought with items that you bought off of their site or whatever, right?
So why do people struggle? Because people take chances, people do pulls that are, like, you know, scary, and if you are a character, if you are a bot that's, like, you know, you're only killing green mobs, the bot is designed to only kill mobs 4 levels below it. It will never die. Like, you can't die. The reason why people don't do that is because it's mind-numbingly boring.
Yeah, it's
why
true.
should gold be able to be traded, though? Well, gold could be used for mounts and, you know, I mean, if there's chrono boons, for chrono boons and other things as well. So you want to remove the auction house from the game at all.
I'm gonna get angry.
Well, I don't really know how you would then tackle the auction house. Maybe there would be a level range of the auction house as well. Like, people that posted that has to, like, buy stuff within certain level ranges too. It's changing the fundamentals of the game. Come on, man, none of this will happen. There's just gonna add no res and that's it. Probably. But I still think it's fun talking about. You are probably right. Yeah, it'll probably just be like a no-res thing with a Makgora, and that's it. But I think it's a fun conversation to have. Like, I do really, really think achievements could be really fun, right? And under achievements, obviously, titles, right? Imagine getting, like, an achievement for being, for being, like, a solo self-found, or an achievement for not having a mount, or an achievement for only playing a certain talent, or something like that. It's for ego? Yeah. I mean, probably. I mean, it is what it is, but that's what people, like, a lot of people play the game like so, right?
Again, like, for something like hardcore, I do actually think achievements and titles would actually be kind of cool for hardcore.
Ego is huge.
You can brag about all the things that you accomplished while you got to level 60. It's something that's a lot more impressive than, I don't know, I don't find achievements in Wrath all that interesting, but for some reason, I like the idea of being able to get an achievement in hardcore where, like, you've completed all the dungeons, or, you know, something like that, or leveled all the way to 60 solo without ever grouping.
In a game that's all about investment. At the end of the day, MMOs are about investing time and everything like that. And a lot of people want to get certain titles for ego reasons. most of the rules are there because there's also softcore players. The rules are in place because it is not a hardcore server, right? It's like to have people to play with in a certain way, right? I feel like we can talk about this forever, though.
Again, like, I believe that there's got to be a baseline of rules that you need to have in order to be considered a hardcore character. But Blizzard isn't going to enforce it. I think the community needs to enforce it in some way. I understand the complications that trading introduces, but necessity is the mother of invention. The bots will find a new scam. Of course they will, but I mean, if they can't trade in any way, like through death, through mail, through auction house, through trading with people, it becomes a lot more difficult for them to actually operate, right? Obviously, if you allow trading at level 60, then suddenly they're able to trade at level 60 as well. And, you know, it is what it is. But just the fact that if players were able to grief bots by killing them, you know, with Hunter's Feign Death or something like that, it would actually eliminate a lot of the bots that are trying to level up to begin with. And because bots would then not be able to level up, and ideally not be able to farm gold or really get a lot of items and stuff like that because they're not getting to 60, it would jack up the price of a lot of items just through supply and demand. And it might price out a lot of these items. Like, you're suddenly looking at, you know, Wolf's Head Helm. Maybe, I don't know what it would go for on G2G. Let's say it goes for $10. Maybe it doesn't go for $10 anymore. Maybe it goes for 100 or something like that. So... you heard Blizzard themselves. They want to encourage the grassroots project. Just disable trading. Make the official servers as close to the spirit of the add-on. I would not have a problem if they disabled trading. And I wouldn't have a problem if they disabled trading even at level 60. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But you're going to have a lot of people that are like, you know, they want to raid or whatever. And then you're like, well, how do we give potions to other people in the raid? You don't. They've got to take herbalism and alchemy. Like, that's part of being hardcore. It's harder than, you know, everything else. Like in our guild Tyrants, like especially when we were on Heartseeker, the guild literally provided all of the pots for the entire guild, because our guild was like a community that went out and farmed all this stuff and then made potions and made, you know, everything that we needed and distributed amongst the raid. But in hardcore, you would literally have to level up herbalism and alchemy yourself, and hopefully you got the recipes for, you know, some of the really important potions that you need. So anyways, I do like the discussion that Guzu has continued on. We talked about Stay Safe's video in the past. I've given my opinion on hardcore rules. I believe that you firmly need to have a baseline rules of what it means to be a hardcore character that people need to follow. And I believe trading is something that they need to not have at all. At least for sure not leveling up. Like let's be honest, for sure not leveling up. So anyways, that's basically it for Blizzard's. Oh, hold on.
Probably need to move on at some point. It's just a very interesting conversation to have, though. Generally speaking, though, I think the trading thing we talked about is really cool. The thing I think is the most interesting to me is the achievement. The achievements would be cool. I would really love to see it.
But anyways, that's it for Guzu's video. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go to Guzu's channel. The links are all down below. Like and subscribe to it. Why does it say I'm not? Oh, it's because I'm logged into my other account. But I am actually subscribed to Guzu, and I'll subscribe on this account as well. Anyways, like and subscribe to his videos, of course, and follow. If you want, you can come talk to me on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Alodar. You can like and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. But come talk to me on Twitch. I stream 5 or 6 days a week, and we're usually playing hardcore, sometimes raiding and Wrath, and that'll be it. Hope to see you guys in the next video.